I'm asked quite often, my life in martial arts, why I put so much effort into the WKO, and why I spend this time when I could be putting it all into my businesses and things like that. And it all really comes down to one thing, and that's you can make as much money as you want in the world. You can be as successful as you want, and money can come and go. You can go bankrupt, you can lose it all, make it again, lose it all, make it again. But you only get one shot at making a legacy, and you only get one shot to make a name, not for yourself, but for me it's to make a name of uniting people and forming something that maybe after I'm gone will go on forever. Forming something for the youth, something that when I was young was never there. I've been doing martial arts for decades, and I started way back, and originally for the first 30 odd years I did traditional martial arts. I studied Kung Fu systems, basic Shaolin systems, and I went to China and studied the way they do martial arts. In the last 20 years I've spent it in Asia learning and studying and in the fighting arts. And some say there's a big difference between the two, and some say that the traditional martial arts are left behind now and it's all down to practicality and that. But in my opinion, martial arts is all one. It doesn't matter whether it's jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, karate, points karate. It's all come from one basic fundamental, and it's just a case of evolution. And martial arts has evolved to a point now where it's like being a doctor. It takes the same study. It takes 3 years to 5 years to become a doctor. It takes the same to become a black belt. It just depends on whether you're going to specialize in something or whether you're going to just be a black belt. It's the same whether you're going to specialize to be a doctor or a heart surgeon, or you're just going to be an MD. That's up to you. But the knowledge is out there, and the knowledge all comes from that basic traditional form of martial arts. The WKO to me is a way of uniting people, and not just people but knowledge. Just imagine the knowledge. We have over 1,000 masters in the WKO. That's right, 1,000. Those 1,000 masters probably control up to 6 million people. Imagine the knowledge combined from all those 126 different systems that those 1,000 masters are involved with, combined, as opposed to one system with 500 masters that are all teaching exactly the same thing. That's where the strength of the WKO lies. Not just in the people that it's in it, but all the knowledge, all the decades and decades of teaching. And a lot of it is martial arts that's not practical anymore, but some of it is, and it's a case of accumulating that knowledge and putting it all together and getting it out to people. For instance, running camps with 3 or 4 different masters of completely different styles, putting their knowledge together. You can't buy that kind of knowledge. So that's where I feel that the WKO has its strength. And for the rest of my life, that's what I've decided I want to put my time into uniting the martial artists and putting people together and bringing back that unity that has always been sort of left out there. No one's ever wanted to step out from behind the cloud and take the risk of uniting. And when they do it locally through Western and European countries and that. In Japan, it's never been done. And it's been a hard call, but we've actually managed now to unite some 126 styles in Japan. Some of the greatest masters living today. And for me, I'm proud of the fact that I've done that. And you know, they don't need to worry. No one needs to worry that I'm going to just take this martial arts and this organization and promote it like, you know, like some of these Western martial arts organizations. My whole concept and the whole reason that the WKO strength in Japan is there is, one, because of my unity with the Shihans in Japan, and two, because I base it purely on the Kohai Senpai system. Although I'm the president of the organization, I don't look at myself as being the highest ranked master in the organization. I look at those people that are and base it on experience and age, and the Kohai Senpai system to me is the easiest way to control an organization of this size. So the WKO to me will be my legacy, and my system of Shorin Kempo. It's some say, oh, it's a new system. How did you change across from the Kung Fu system to the Japanese system? I didn't change across from the Kung Fu system to the Japanese system. That's where people that don't understand martial arts have these crazy notions. You see, Shorin Kempo is exactly the same as saying Shaolin Kung Fu. The difference is that the Shorin Kempo, the Kempo systems, when the martial arts expanded to the islands of Okinawa back in 725 AD, they all came from the Shorin Kempo, from the Shorin Kung Fu. And in China there is hundreds and hundreds of base styles that have branched off from Shorin Kempo. For instance, the system that I based my foundations for all my martial arts on was Sergi-do, which is from Master Seal. And this system to me was very practical, as it was taught to what they call temple guardians. So the only difference is that the systems have been evolving to Okinawa since 725 AD. Some of the Kempo systems, most of the Kempo systems only came to Okinawa and only got named and famous since the 1940s. The first of them actually went to mainland China, Japan, which was Shorinji Kempo back in the 1940s. But since then, there have been many, many Kempo come across to Okinawa. And they're all styles based on the Chinese system. A lot of them in Okinawa still give all the commands in Chinese. And then some of them half Chinese, Japanese, so it does get quite confusing. Why I sort of moved more into the Japanese style instead of the staying with the Sergi-do was because of practicality. The system itself of Sergi-do couldn't expand any further. One, because for expansion you need competition. And the Japanese systems have the best form of competition in the world for karate and martial arts. So, and you need a discipline. You need a base that you can unite and grow on. And it's very hard to do that with the Kung Fu systems, because you can travel from school to school in China, and what is taught is completely different from the next school. From the languages, to the commands, to the way they do things in the dojo. So every time you go to a different school, you virtually got to start all over again. So to me, by unifying and setting a unilateral base for my system, following an international grading system, it was far more practical, and because of the time I spend in Japan, to unite and combine our system with the Japanese. And so there we have Shorin Kempo, which is still, in a way, you would say, Shorin Kung Fu. And it also means that when my students go to Japan, enter in competitions, go and train at other dojos, they can do so comfortably and not feel out of place. So my first step for Shorin Kempo was to prove that we could compete with the Japanese, that we could stand up to their high superior form of competition. And we've done that since 2005. My students have won and competed and been in the top 5 of nearly every tournament they've entered into. So Shorin Kempo has a very strong name in Japan now, to the point we've decided it's time to run the Shorin Kempo Tokyo Open this year. And so that's the main reason why it's moved across. And most of the systems, the strong systems in Japan, a lot of them come from the Kempo. Byakuran comes from the Shorinji Kempo. A lot of them come from the same background as we do. So what I did was I sort of stripped down Sergi-do to all the things that are unpractical and have no room for evolution. I kept the basics that kept the strength and built the heart around the student. And then I refined the art to a point where we could unilaterally use its strengths in order to make it grow. And we've found that this has become very, very successful. The system is easy. The system is strong. It's practical. It consists of traditional martial arts, using that as the base to create competitive martial arts, which has an avenue to go to top-ranked professional fighting. I believe that if you teach martial arts right to a person, he can box, he can do Muay Thai, he can do karate, he can do it all, if his basics are correct and if there is a good foundation. And I believe Shorin Kempo has produced that foundation, and the system that I've developed is that.